Hey guys, Thunder here. Today's a little bit of a different day. This is my video saying that I am quitting Questland. Now, that's going to cause a lot of different questions as I've been involved in a lot of different parts of the game for a long time with lots of tools and a bit of a community. So I'm going to try and do my best in addressing all that. I'm going to start off the video with kind of covering the different reasons I am quitting. Kind of break that down to make it easy. After that, I'm going to kind of go and talk about my tools that I have running for Questland, as a lot of people are currently using and leveraging those. And if I'm quitting, what's going to happen with those is a pretty big question. And then at the end, I'll kind of go through my Patreon, Discord, and YouTube plans and kind of cover all that with everyone. So if you're looking for a specific part, I'll try and find the timestamps and put those in the description for everyone. And hopefully that will help. All right. So let's hop right into this here and start right at the meat of the problem with why I'm quitting. And these fall into three main categories, I would say. The first category would be meaningful playable content. The next one would be a bit of the new Guild Boss mechanics, kind of in a review kind of session. And then the last one would be what I call chores. So before I go too much into those, right? This is my opinion. This is not a stance for anyone. And this is what I like and how I view things. So take everything you hear here with a grain of salt and feel free to have your own opinions. Alright, so starting with meaningful playable content. Since I first started this game, and just to context it, this was a bit after Global's launch, a couple of months. The only really large amount of content, or large, I'll put in quotes, content that was added was the tower. It's the only real new playable content that I've seen for the majority of my time playing Questland, which is well over a year now. And we did get the new Guild Boss launch that went quite rough, and it actually got taken down for more work. And one of the things about the new Guild Boss was it actually got rid of a bunch of functional working builds that we used to use for the Guild Boss. So it's really only a swap to a different build. I'm having trouble counting that as more content, but it is worth calling out. It's also worth noting that the Guild Boss is kind of the same amount of time investment each week, and it doesn't really add anything more to the game. It's just a swap. When I am looking for more content, what I'm talking about is like post-campaign content. So you have everyone who goes through the campaign. Now I know it can be completed by like the super min-maxers around like 1.1 to 1.2 million-ish power. But even by 2 million, most people have cleared that. Which in the current state of the game leaves the range of 2 million power through 6 million power with not much to do. You can progress maybe a few power levels here or there. Maybe your hard boss will go up slightly on the weekends. But that's about it. And that's a pretty big issue from my perspective, is there's that lack of content. And a lot of that pushed through simply because of artifacts and artifact orbs and the increased potential on gear. And there's a very large focus on new gear, higher potential, and upgrades. But there wasn't anything added to really do something with that gear. And when I say do something with that gear, what that means is meaningful playable content. Let's say you added a dungeon where weekly you could go through and fight a scaled up boss from the campaign with different waves of enemies or something. Content that is new and gives you a purpose for increasing in your power. That is exciting. That really hasn't existed in Questland since I've started. So let's move on to the next category here, and it's the new Guild Boss review. And this is a currently in flux change. So let's be clear. Like what I'm saying with here needs to be taken with a grain of salt. Gamester has the full ability to change and improve this, and I hope a lot of it does get changed and improved. It would be really good for a lot of players. So the first thing to call out is with how the skulls and the trophies and everything they've talked about works now, it's really not possible for guilds that operate across multiple time zones and ran separate blitzes or raids or whatever you'd like to call them to participate. So I know some guilds that worked because they had a lot of Australians, so they held a blitz for them. And then for a lot of the rest of the global community, they would hold a separate one. And that let those guilds and those communities stay together. On this new event, it's pretty much mandatory for most of your members to be on and tagging at the same time, and really inefficient and semi-punishing for that not to be the case. So these guilds that were communities that spread way too many time zones really are struggling, especially on the global server, where even just putting a schedule for an event where a decent number of people can attend is quite hard. So moving past that and looking a bit deeper at the event, right? After you take care of the participation, right? And guild member participation's always been a factor, but let's say you get pretty good participation. The event strategy is actually quite basic. So once you get the strategy down, really the only other mechanic that's being added is around hero power. And that's meaning that participation is usually something top guilds will cap on or get very close to capping on. Basic strategy is something almost every guild covers. So what we're really saying is the meaningful statistic that we all look at on this event is your hero power. If multi's involved, it's battle event hero power. If it's not, it's regular hero power. That's not great because this says that your community and your cooperation, or even maybe a skill factor, really aren't in place for competitive guilds. This brings it straight down to what is either your BE hero power or your hero power average in this guild. That's not good. For Questland, a really long time, it did not matter whether you were 1 million power or 5 million power or even 500k. You could play and you could participate in the fullest with everyone. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't know, but it really made for some amazing communities that are starting to fall apart in Questland now. And yeah, they'll rebuild and restructure, but a lot of the important things we're being asked to restructure around are really hero power. And I don't think that's going to be good for the game. And I personally don't like that. A lot of community is being shattered from my perspective, and it's very sad. Now, instead of harping on that, let's hop over into what I call chores. And to explain chores a little bit, I think it's important to talk about Questland's kind of design for quests. All these quest events are extremely strict time windows based. So you have overlaps, you have event starts, you have event ends, you have sniping. It's all extremely specific time windows that you need to be on the game and actively playing. So you kind of need to structure and organize your life around a game. This is not an idle game. And if you're not on top of the game, that missing out feeling you're feeling is actually real. This game is not very non-idle. It's not idle friendly. Let's put it this way. It's not idle friendly in the least. You will be missing out on something by not being active on the game fairly consistently throughout the entire day. And if you take those shortcuts, you do lose out. It would be it would not be fair to say that this is a bad design. It does increase activity on the game and other metrics that matter for games. But I will say that over a long period of time, this kind of process is exhausting. You always need to be on at the same time. You always need to repeat the same patterns. Well, it could be good, right? These are strict times, right? If you have let's say the event ends during work, it's not uncommon for people to go to the bathroom, in quotes, when they're really just trying to get on to manage something from a modable game that's trying to be fun. And I find that very frustrating from a game for people with busier lives. So it'd be nice to see if it was these are a daily event, log in and do it anytime during the day. Or maybe take something like Overwatch does and say, do X of these a week. And really just kind of free up those times. That would be a lot less stressful and kind of chore feeling That's just my opinion on it, though. I find that, the intrusiveness of that really does get in the way of the enjoyment of the game, and it's very frustrating from that perspective, and it wears you out. All right, now I don't want to bring in any more subjects, as you could talk forever on Questland stuff, but I do want to kind of say that looking over a lot of these, I don't see a fundamental change that's going to address a lot of these pain points I have with Questland personally. Now, some of them may be bigger or smaller issues for other people. That may change. Make sure you do your own kind of thinking, right? Don't just monkey see, monkey do. But what matters to you is important. And these things really, they do great on me. And they've bothered me for a little bit of time. And, with the meta shifting and a lot of community breaking down and leaving, this is a good time for me to reflect. And this is what I'm coming to. So I don't see a fundamental change that would address all of these in the near term at all, which is why I'm going to be calling it quits for Questland. All right, so let's shift over on topics a little bit, and let's talk about my Questland tools. I have quite a few of them, and people have come to really love and enjoy them and use them a lot. Now, I'm going to be honest, the tools are a bit costly. And I personally spend about $200 a month out of pocket to keep them running. A massive, massive thank you to my Patreons who have really helped offset and lower some of this cost for me. It is beyond appreciated, and I cannot overstate how much I absolutely adore having your support. It means a lot. Now, about these tools is, if I'm not going to play the game, I'm not going to keep them running. Now, I don't want to drop them. That's really not my style. I want to do this right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep them up until the first of the next month, which would be April. This won't be an April Fool's thing. They will actually come down on that date. Right? Now, I want to call out a couple things about these tools. One, they're open source. And what this means for anyone not in the tech industry is that they're free and the code's all available and someone else can run them. Now, I want to note on this, they are extremely technical. And it's likely going to take someone with software developer or software engineering experience to run these and keep them active. That cost would transfer kind of over to them, and there are things you can do to reduce it and change it and whatnot, but that would be up to the individual. It's also worth knowing that anyone who wants to use these tools is going to need to reach out to Gamester and have a conversation about licensing, because they do use Questland assets on the site, and it does talk and read off of Gamester APIs. So a relationship with Gamester is a good idea, both in terms of legal licensing things and in terms of collaboration as the game changes to keep things working. Now, if you happen to be an individual who is interested in actually trying to take this up and do this, please contact me via Discord on a PM. The best way to find me is join the public Questland Discord, and I'll be listed on there, and you can send me a message. All right, so moving off of those tools, let's pivot on over to my Patreon, Discord, and YouTube updates. So starting with the Patreons, I love you guys. You are all absolutely amazing and fantastic. And without your support, all this wouldn't have been able to happen. And I am so appreciative and so grateful to have had that. That being said, I'm not going to take your money for something I'm not working on. So I will be dropping support for my Patreon and canceling all of the pledges that you have made, so you do not have any extra expense going towards you. So please do not worry about that. I will make sure to wrap that up cleanly. Now, the Discord that most of my Patreons are on, that is also going to be being shut down, as there will not be a purpose for that anymore. As for YouTube, I will not be taking down the channel. I feel like there's still a lot of really helpful guides, tutorials, and thought process and overviews for things in Questland that are going to remain relevant for a long period of time. That being said, I'm not going to be actively maintaining the YouTube channels, updating them, responding to comments, things of that nature. I'm just going to let it idle and play out however it plays out, and hopefully it can help more people over time. Now, for sake of not letting this get too long, I'm going to wrap it up here. I would like to wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors. Thunder